What is going on, guys? Money Webby here, back again, week 2 with my favorite daily fantasy picks of the week. I'm going to preview it on out with a few guys at every position that I'm extremely high on heading into the week based on just salaries, the opportunities that these guys are getting so far, and I think it's going to translate over into week 2. Really good matchups. Looking at the Vegas lines, implied totals, potential amount of plays a team could get just based on the game flow, some game scripts and everything like that. So like I said, a few guys at every position. If you're excited, and I hope you guys did well week 1. If you're excited for this week 2 to keep it rolling, go ahead and drop a like in the video. We got a crazy amount of likes in week 1. Let's see if we can get over 150 likes on this video. If we can do that, that'd be greatly appreciated. We've been closing on the 8,000 subscribers, so if you're not subscribed as well, definitely subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more NFL weekly DFS previews. I give out a good amount of content here, I would say, a good amount of research for every single slate, so I think you guys would enjoy it. And if you don't agree with my plays, you don't have to run them out. I mean, it's just good to sometimes just absorb kind of information on different players so you can kind of get a better sense of just how to attack the slate and maybe where some ownership might be and everything of that nature. And as well, if you're not following me on Twitter at MoneyWebby, definitely do so as I tweet out my videos. And you can hit the notification icon to get alerted every time I upload on the YouTube after you subscribe. But let's get right into it. So first quarterback up, Tom Brady. Looked really good. This offense is going to be definitely an elite offense. If they stay healthy, if the offensive line stays good, and the wide receivers, you can't really ask for a better core of wide receivers. You got Antonio Brown now. He's likely to play in this week. I would expect him to play the majority of the snaps. Maybe he doesn't get a full workload of snaps as they kind of work him into the offense. Maybe he splits some snaps with Philip Dorsett and maybe Josh Gordon a little bit. I expect Julian Edelman to be in there every single play. But this matchup is as soft as it gets. I mean, they're going against the Dolphins. We saw the Ravens absolutely beat down on the Dolphins in week 1. It was 59-10. Lamar Jackson, on just 20 pass attempts, put up 324 yards and 5 touchdowns. A guy that I'm not even sure if he put up over 300 yards in one single game in all of his starts last year, and he did that in 20 pass attempts against the Dolphins. They made it pretty obvious in the offseason that they weren't trying to be very competitive this year. They want a high draft pick. They're trying to go after a young quarterback in a future draft. So this should be another steamrolling by the Patriots. They're a huge 18.5-point favorite. And the Patriots, the thing about them, they don't really take their foot off the gas until the game is pretty much completely over. I mean, I think the Patriots could run it up here in this game. And with the majority of the matchups just on the outside being in huge favor of the Patriots, even with a bad game script, I mean, I think Tom Brady can still put up close to 300 yards, a few touchdowns. As long as he doesn't get screwed over by rushing touchdowns, that can happen sometimes with the Patriots. When they get in close, they'll just run it, and Brady can kind of struggle in that sense with the fantasy points. But as long as he has good, just average luck in that sense where it doesn't break in the favor of Sony Michel with those rushing touchdowns, I think Tom Brady's going to have an extremely good game. They're implied 33 points, and the second highest implied total on this slate is 28.5. So huge opportunity here in this matchup for Tom Brady. See the price tags there, 7.8 and 6.4 around the top 6 or so. I think he's around maybe 5-6 range. I think he honestly could be the first or second highest scoring quarterback on this slate. So I love him. And then if you want to go value, it's a complete opposite end of the spectrum. Gardner Minshew. I mean, this guy, I stepped in for Nick Foles. Not a great situation. I believe they were down by 10 points when he stepped in, but he looked extremely good. I was not expecting it. Right when I saw Nick Foles go down, me personally, as a Leonard Fournette owner in my biggest fantasy league, I was like, oh shit, this is gonna suck for Fournette. This kid's gonna be rattled just stepping in there now, probably because Nick Foles got the majority of the first team reps, and he looked probably even better than Nick Foles did when he was playing. He was extremely accurate, very poised in the pocket, saw the field very well. I mean, he had I think 14, started the game 14 out of 14, something crazy like that. Almost set a record for the most completions in a row for a Jaguars quarterback. I think he was one off. But yeah, he was really good. And he has another maybe even a potentially softer matchup here. He faced the Chiefs. The Chiefs' run defense looked pretty solid, so it kind of slowed things down in the sense of like them being able to just run it down their throat and getting into good field position like every single drive. They kind of had to rely on the passing game a little bit more, so it kind of stalled a few of their first drives. But this Texans defense was really bad week 1 against the Saints, who were actually the worst graded defense on Pro Football Focus against the Saints. Across the board, they had bad coverage grades, bad pass rush grades, bad run defense grades. So with everything considered like that, I think the Jaguars are going to be able to find a way to move the ball against his team. And like I said, Minshew looked very good. It's not like he's playing for anything. It's not like, I mean, he is kind of playing for his career to kind of establish himself in the NBA, in the NFL. But Nick Foles, he's going to come back and likely be the starter as long as Minshew doesn't go absolutely crazy. They paid Nick Foles a ton of money. So in that sense, Minshew kind of has a little bit of free roam, I would say, can kind of be a little bit more relaxed in there, kind of play a little bit more carefree, if you know what I'm trying to say. And I think that can help him out. So this matchup, like I said, Texans, very bad defense, and they actually have some underrated wide receivers. I liked what I saw out of Chris Conley, DJ Chark, DJ Chark, D.D. Westbrook. All three of those guys look really good week 1. I think they can create a lot of separation against this Texans secondary. So a really good value play. You can really pay up for the running backs, wide receivers, and even tight ends if you put in Gardner Minshew there, and he has one of the better matchups on the slate. Now for running back, like I said, you can pay up at running back. If you want to pay up, you got to go with Alvin Kamara. This is a perfect matchup. Going against the Rams, we saw Christian McCaffrey go crazy against them in week 1, 209 total yards on 29 touches. And McCaffrey is a very similar styled player in just the role he plays in the offense. He's going to be lining up in the slot a little bit, some mismatches against these Rams linebackers. We saw McCaffrey get 10 catches in that game against the Rams. And the Rams defensive line is also pretty suspect outside of Aaron Donald. There's not really a good run defender, I would say. Besides Aaron Donald, Clay Matthews is on there, and he's very out of his prime. He has been for a few years, pretty damn bad. So I think the Saints can honestly steamroll this team on just through the run game with Alvin Kamara. Then they can lean on him with those mismatches against the linebackers. And this game does have the potential to be a shootout, as you do have two of the better offenses in all the NFL, the Rams and the Saints. I believe their regular season game was like 35-25 when they played in the regular season last year. The Saints, the playoff game was a little bit more contested, a little bit more nerves you could sense in the game with Jared Goff. He seemed a little bit out of sorts a little bit. But in a regular season game, I feel like they'll be a little bit more relaxed. The Rams offense can really get going at home, so that could put in some more kind of good game scripts for Kamara where he can get like 8+ catches against this Rams defense. So a really good situation. Doesn't really need to rely on any game script because I think he can get it done through the running game and through the receiving game. So I like him a lot. I think he could put up over 100 yards pretty easily. He's getting more snaps without Mark Ingram, and he should be getting more touches as well going forward. And for my second guy, Josh Jacobs, he's just very underpriced on DraftKings, so I really wanted to mention him. If you look at the price discrepancy here, he's $4,700 on DraftKings compared to $6,500 on FanDuel. So a really good value on DraftKings to lock him in there as like your second running back or even in the flex spot. I think he has really good upside week in, week out because he's going to be getting a ton of work. John Gruden, we saw even with Marshawn Lynch last year, he's not afraid to give running backs, or was that last year? The year might have been even 2 years ago with Marshawn Lynch. I think he's played the beginning of last year. Honestly, kind of forget, but he was getting a ton of touches week in, week out. Josh Jacobs got 24 touches week 1. That was the third most among all running backs, so 24. And like I said, that value is way too good. Pretty soft matchup against the Chiefs. Last year, they were one of the worst run defenses in the NFL. A little bit better against the Jaguars, I would say, but Leonard Fournette still was pretty good yards per carry wise. And Jacobs was really impressive week 1. He had like 8 broken tackles, looked very good in open space. And the Chiefs last year were one of the worst tackling defenses in all of football. So if he can get to that second level, I think he can do really well. So that's my second running back. Definitely favor him more on DraftKings, but I think he's still definitely in play on FanDuel. And for my third running back, another guy way too cheap, and obviously that's partially due to Geis going down with an injury and being out this week. But Adrian Peterson, 3.4K on DraftKings, 4.8 on FanDuel. And he's just going to step right into that same role I think he was playing last year. I mean, Jay Gruden, rather, kind of was pretty, I would say, disrespectful. I don't know. I mean, I figured he would be active. It was kind of a shock for him to be inactive. After being so good for that team last year for the Redskins, it was just a surprise for him to be inactive. And I think Adrian Peterson's going to be very pissed off about that. I think he's going to come out here running like a madman. We saw him like very good last year, even despite his age. I believe he's like 34 now. I still think he has a little bit left in the tank, especially considering he didn't play last week. A big thing with Adrian Peterson was when he did get big workloads just the week after, he was a little bit slow. But with him being fresh heading into this week, I think he can have a very good game. And this is a game that could honestly stay closer than people are expecting. The Vegas line is only Dallas -4.5. So if this game stays in a neutral game script enough, Adrian Peterson get honestly 15 plus carries, and the Cowboys rushing defense didn't look very good week 1. So with the price being pretty cheap, AP does have big upside just based on the opportunity. So I like him a lot as a third running back. And for now, for the Rams offensive side of things, you can kind of stack up this game very easily with Cooper Kupp, and then you can go Kamara on the other side. And if you want to go with any other wide receivers or quarterback, or maybe even Todd Gurley, you can do that as well. But 6.8K on FanDuel, 6K on DraftKings. I just think he is the best matchup on the field for the Rams, is based on everything. Lattimore saw a good amount of Brandon Cooks last year when they played. And Eli Apple, he wasn't too bad for the Saints when he did after he got traded to them. So he could hold his own against Robert Woods. I mean, I think Woods could still get the better of him. But I think Cooper Kupp just has the best matchup, like I said, against P.J. Williams, their worst graded cornerback of the three. And Jared Goff, he had a nice connection with Cooper Kupp at the beginning of the game. Like, he had like 3 catches for 20-something yards. But then after that, it seemed like he was just locking on to wide receivers rather than scanning the field. Hopefully they picked it up on film, because Jared Goff had not Jared Goff, but Cooper Kupp had a bunch of plays where he was just wide open over the middle of the field, and Jared Goff just couldn't locate him. So if he goes back and sees that on film, I think then Cooper Kupp can have some big chunk plays with the play action against the Saints. And at home, like I mentioned before with Kamara, the Rams are very good at home. They scored 36 points per game at home last year, and they had the second highest team total of 28.5 heading into this game. So the Rams, Cooper Kupp, cheapest of the 3, and I think he is the best matchup, so I'm going to go with him. And now for Josh Gordon, pair him up with Tom Brady. Really good upside. Honestly, you could pair up 2 Patriot wide receivers in this game if you want to go Julian Edelman or Antonio Brown. If you want to be even as contrarian as possible, maybe even go with Philip Dorsett. I could see him catching a bomb in this game. But Josh Gordon here, like I said, a really good matchup. The Dolphins secondary across the board is pretty bad, but where they are decently strong is Xavier Howard, who should be matched up with Antonio Brown, I would imagine, and then Eric Rowe, who got absolutely destroyed week 1, will be on Josh Gordon. So if you look at Eric Rowe, week 1, targeted 6 times, and he let up 6 catches for 82 yards and 2 touchdowns in those 6 targets. So he was as bad as you could be in those targets. And I think Josh Gordon could easily get the better of him. He's just a freak of nature. And this defensive line for the Dolphins is non-existent. So if you give Tom Brady time to find a guy down the field like Josh Gordon, he's going to make your pay. So I think he has huge upside. I could see like 100 yards in a touchdown, maybe even more, maybe even 2 touchdowns. So with that kind of Antonio Brown matching up in the top corner, I think it's just going to open things up for Josh Gordon. For my final wide receiver, Mecole Hardman, pretty damn cheap. Stepping in for Tyreek Hill is going to be out a few weeks. And the thing with Hardman is that the chances were there from the make plays. It's just that things just didn't break the way because Sammy Watkins was getting wide open every play. It seemed like Travis Kelce was having some chunk gains. The running game was getting going with LaShawn McCoy. Just after Tyreek Hill went down, it seemed like everyone else was open, and then he wasn't getting the targets, but the snaps were there. So I think that's what really matters here, is that he got 53 out of 59 snaps. And in this game, I think Andrew Reid will go back to the drawing board without Tyreek Hill, be able to kind of draw some things up, maybe some quick screens, maybe a handoff. This guy has crazy speed, and with him just being so fast, like we saw last year, it only takes one play with Tyreek Hill to get wide open down the field just by running past someone, and that can easily happen with Mecole Hardman. With the attention now shifting over to Sammy Watkins and Travis Kelce, like with Tyreek Hill, he's definitely a good wide receiver, but some of his playmaking abilities is him running straight and being extremely fast. But now that the attention is shifting over to Sammy Watkins, then Mecole Hardman could go one-on-one and just blow past someone without the safety kind of help that Tyreek Hill was getting when he was running those deep kind of patterns, those like go routes. So keep that in mind. I think he can have a really good week. Definitely is risky. Like I could see him just getting one catch for like 9 yards, but I also could see him getting like 5 catches for 100 yards and a touchdown. A pretty soft matchup against the Raiders here. Like I said, he won't be getting the same attention that a guy like Tyreek Hill does, and he does have very similar speed. So, and you pair him up with one of the best quarterbacks. I don't know why I always mess it up. Quarterbacks in the NFL, if not the best over the last year. So, really good spot there for him. And now for tight end, Darren Waller, very cheap on DraftKings, 3.3K, and this guy looked very good in week 1 against the Denver Broncos. So he was very hyped up from every analyst you find on Twitter, always saying Darren Waller, Darren Waller, Darren Waller. And for good reason. I mean, especially with Antonio Brown leaving, and it made even more sense as he became, now he's probably 1A, 1B with Tyrell Williams for targets wise. He had 8 targets in week 1. He played every single snap. He had some plays designed for him. They did a quick bubble screen to him, some quick hitters, like a one kind of this step for Derek Carr, like a one hitch throw to him on a comeback. So it seemed like some good chemistry with Derek Carr as well. So I think that's very good going forward. Pretty soft matchup against the Chiefs here. I'm expecting them to be down in this game, so a more positive game script as they were up the whole entire game against the Denver Broncos. So some really good upside here. And also, a big thing with tight ends, which makes you have that extra upside, like we saw with George Kittle, Zach Ertz, the thing that takes them to the next level, and Travis Kelce, is the thing that takes them to the next level is just lining up as a slot wide receiver or as a regular wide receiver on the outside. It gives you just more opportunities to make some big chunk plays, and you get more mismatches in those situations just on the outside. I mean, this guy used to be a wide receiver when he came into the league. Now he's a tight end. Mismatch every single time out unless they put like a cornerback on him. He has really good athleticism, had a crazy catch on the sidelines, and he had 31% of the team's targets week 1. So really good upside, too cheap. And similar situation here, Mark Andrews, really good target share. Him and Darren Waller both had 31% of the team's targets, which was tied for the second most among tight ends behind George Kittle. So some really elite production from them when it comes to target share, and both were very productive with those targets as well. I think Andrews had like 6 catches for 100 yards or something like that. I didn't write down his full stat line, but this matchup, one of the better matchups you can ask for against Arizona. Another soft defense here. They let TJ Hawkinson go wild on him, 6 for 131 and a touchdown. And a lot of those plays, he was just wide open over the middle of the field. This Arizona defense is like college level without Patrick Peterson and Robert Alford. So a really soft matchup. Another guy I think can get it done and give us some really good upside. I think Andrews and Waller are both 2 tight ends that could be potential top 6 tight ends the rest of the way. So really good time to get them now on daily fantasy before their prices kind of really skyrocket. But that is it for the plays. Hope you enjoyed it. Drop a like in the video if you did before you head out. I'd really appreciate that. Like I said before, let's try to get over 150 likes. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on any more of this content. Really appreciate all the support on the channel, and it helps me out with every like that you guys give me and every subscription, or just every person that subscribes, just to get more exposure on my videos. And follow me on Twitter at MoneyWebby You can comment any questions you have down below in the video. You can tweet at me on Twitter. I answer everything. You can DM me, whatever you want to do for any questions. But good luck here on this Week 2 slate, and we'll see you back here again next time.